So anyway, I was really upset because, okay, now it's Friday, I still don't have the money. The Holy Spirit said, go to the park, go pray, and read the Bible. And I said, I don't have the money. I mean, I have the money, but I don't have all the money that is needed to go in. Go do that. So I did that. So I was at the park all day, worrying, praying, reading the Bible, and got to be there at 7 this evening to give the money to move in the place. So before I was going to go, I still didn't have the money, and I called people at my church. And I said, I had this great story I was going to make up to them, to the people I had to give the money to. And they said, you cannot do that. You cannot lie. This is why you're in the situation in the first place. You have to tell the truth. And I said, that's great. Okay. So I go there on Friday, and I tell them, look, I have money to give to you, and I thought I would have all of it by now. And I'm sorry, but I assumed when I saw you on Wednesday that I would have the rest by Friday. I have this amount now, which was most of it, but not all of it. And I know over the course of the weekend I'll have the rest of the money to give you for Monday. My apologies. I go, if you want, I won't start moving in now. I'll wait until Monday if you like. They said, no, it's okay. Give me the money. And it's a few days. It's not a big deal. Thank you for, and the guy was a Christian too. So he was appreciated the fact that I was upfront about everything. I was like, whoa, that's great. But let me tell you something that happened in the meantime. So what happened was they said, fine. But between Wednesday night and Monday, before I moved in, was very interesting. Had a new job, and sleeping was not wonderful because I was sleeping on the street. Because now I had the money and I couldn't stay in a shelter. And you know what? I couldn't have been happier. I had the Holy Spirit. I went to sleep. Nobody ever bothered me. I was never too hot. I was never too cold. It didn't bother me. It didn't get to me. Because I wasn't at a shelter, I couldn't get food. And I would go to the mall. And, they give you the free tryouts for food. Try, chicken fingers. Try, all this type of things. And all the tryouts of all the different foods they have at the mall is enough for a handful. And that was my food for the day. And that filled me up. And I wasn't hungry. And I remember I was walking past Walmart. And L. Ron Hubbard, the Dianetics, which is like, what do you call that? The science. Oh yeah. Oh. The thing that Tom Cruise is in. What do you call that? The science thingamajig. I forgot what it is. But they had this thing that they had there, and it was a stress test. And I was so filled with the Holy Spirit. I was overwhelmed with it. And every time you put your hands on it, it measures your stress. It's a stress test. And when I put my hands on it, the needle didn't move. So the guy thought maybe something was wrong with the machine. So he tried the machine. He saw it evidently worked. So he started he started asking me questions of the worst times I've had in my life. Think of the worst times you've had in your life. Think of the worst experiences. And guess what? The needle started to move. But it didn't start to move to the right. It started to move to the left, below zero. He said, something's wrong with this machine. He checked it again. It's fine. He says, I don't get it. And I go, what you don't get when you have the Holy Spirit, what else do you need? And that was my experience. But what is really, really unbelievable Very typical. Very typical of multitude mentality. How often do we have to be boxed in where we have no choice but to give up that control to be able to trust the Lord? That's unbelievable. Imagine what could have happened. Imagine what it could have been if that trust was there in the first place. I would have never had to have gone through that. The Lord would have had other lessons altogether. But to give that trust are just basic survival. But that's very typical, again, of everybody who's a multitude. But guess what? You learn. And that's exactly what I did. There was something that just happened recently, and this is the second testimony. The Holy Spirit said, get a job. Honey's coming. You got to get something good and something secure. He said, get a job. Honey's coming. I knew what he meant by that. Something secure, something good. I know what he meant by honey too, but I'm not going to get involved in that now. And I'm looking for work. I have a business on the side. It does okay. And there was this particular job where it didn't turn out to be all cracked up to be the money per hour, but there was an opportunity for growth in the company to other positions. And, 90 days, I get 401k, I get medical benefits, so I started working there. And I was very surprised when I decided to take this job that this is what the Holy Spirit wanted. And I said, this is sales. How the heck can you do sales without inquiring? Holy Spirit said, do your job. I was very upset. I was like, all right, I'm going to be a light for the Lord. And that's what I'm going to do. And there was a couple times where I got upset at the end of the day. And I go, what am I getting upset for? I'm getting upset because I had a bad day at work. But it's not about me. It's supposed to be about the Lord. So when I don't focus, so I said, okay. I said, God, I'm going to focus on what you want. And if the job doesn't work out and if I get fired, I'm doing your glory. That's what I'm going to go do. I'm not going to go get caught up in my wants and my will and my inquiry to be able to do this job. I'm going to do your will. And if I land up staying at that job, fine, I'll end up staying. If I don't, I don't. And if I have to stay at that job to inquire, then it's not worth it because it's what your will is what's most important. The Holy Spirit said, do the job at hand. He also told me along the way when I asked that, and I was confused. He said, I love you. And I've been a Christian now 13 going on 14 years, and I never heard the Lord said he loved me. That was a first. And when I first asked the Holy Spirit, why should I stay in sales? Because it's about inquiring. Inquiring outside the will of the Lord. Should I stay with this job? Should I go do something else this way? Should I do this? Should I do that? And the Holy Spirit said to me this: you have a warm place to sleep. I made that happen. You get to eat. You have a car. You have this. You have that. And he said, you're questioning me? Like, you're not sure? Like, where's your trust? You have all this. I provided this for you. Go do your job. I said, okay. Part 4 is